Okay, so just have a quick sort of like 5 minute flick around the charts just before ECB due to come out in 25 minutes. So we're seeing sort of for the moment, gold sort of, you know what I mean, it's certainly not looking like anything sort of too crash hot if you're looking for the upside, but it's not giving way as of yet to the downside here. So lower time frame could probably say a little bit more uh, overview here. So we had this zone that we were talking about, sort of start of Asia session, which obviously sort of it's given way to. It's come down here, found a little bit of support once this wick from the ECB, sorry, not the ECB, the US CPI last night filled. And as we can see, sort of like prices come down here. I suspect with these sort of things that obviously a lot of the time you'll get these wicks that will fill, these long ones from data events. Um, as it was coming down quite strongly here, you could have expected possibly some stops to be under here, them to be triggered, and then a bit more of a push to the downside. The fact that we couldn't actually get a close down under this wick, and you know, it's only sort of these are on 1 hour candles, only two tests of that level, and then push back up, means that sort of I think sort of basically, I mean, obviously the market's not sort of buying it and pricing it or valuing it here necessarily, but they're still a little bit cautious about selling it down further coming into the ECB rate decision. Because I think the sort of the thing with this is that it's a 25% base point is pretty much the sort of market consensus with it all, and was sort of we're going to see some of that priced in. So we've seen US dollars actually sort of recovered a little bit through the euro session, but again, I think sort of people are a little bit cautious. So market before these larger sort of news events tend to go relatively quiet. And as I said, sort of start of the day, Asia typically gives you about a $5 range at best. Euro session, I don't really trade a great deal of, but you can see it hasn't really been a great deal here either, and it's just come back up. So this is at the moment at a point where it seems to be rejecting. As I said, this is where we called our support zone previously. So it broke down, came back up here. This could be a retest of the downside. Confirmation for a sell on this one here will be sort of below these wicks, below the sort of 1905, and then we've got a little bit of support here from the 1904, but I reckon 1897 to 1900 will be next sort of point of stop for the downside there. I am personally sort of looking to buy this if possible. I think that there's a good chance that we do get this larger sort of move back up here into the sort of 2030s. Of course, we've got this sort of falling resistance to sort of take care of, or to contend with. But yeah, certainly I'll be looking to buy this, even if we dip down into the 1890s. I think it's worth a shot to have a bit of a buy there as well. Aussie dollar had that sort of spike on news earlier. So as I sort of said when we did that earlier Asia video, that certainly the data came in and beat expectations very strongly. So if we have a quick sort of look over here, um, here we go, the employment change here. Unemployment rate stayed the same. Previously 1.4K, I thought that was 14K actually previously. So maybe that's been amended. Maybe there's a little arrow there. Expectation was 25.4, came in 64. So big push to the top side there. It was initial reaction was a bit of a spike. It had been this was a sort of big candle moving up prior to it all, and then as the news dropped, it spiked up here, took out that 50 line. But I think then, sort of on sort of deeper reading of it, the market seemed to think that although there was all these jobs added, a lot of them were actually part-time. So yeah, as you can see, boom, price corrected itself a little bit and sort of came back down into the range. And previously, as I said, look, these are where the sellers are going to be. We've seen this before. We've seen that it was a strong support zone. It only tested it once. That's two tests. This is three tests. We're coming through for the fourth test right now. If we get ECB sort of rate rise, I'd imagine just via proxy, we should get a push on Aussie. As I said, price targets are still up around 64.80 for a pop of this zone, because I think there'll be a lot of stops sitting around this zone here. And although sort of obviously it's a euro rate decision, I think the fact that because it makes up so much of sort of that sort of broad risk sentiment with DXY, we're going to see US dollar get sold off broadly. And as that gets sold off broadly, we're going to see the push and appreciation with the Aussie. Alternatively to that, of course, is if because the market is already pricing for a 25% base point raise, if they don't, then we're going to see the reverse of that. US dollar, I imagine, is going to sort of shoot back up to overnight highs and probably try and take out that wick that it formed from the US CPI. So interesting, and we've got about 20 minutes or so till this comes. I've also got the press conference after. We've also got some USD news. So there's a fair bit coming up in the next hour. So just moving on quickly, we've got the pop on copper here, and these were the sort of price targets that we've said, and we can see these are getting hit into right now. So if you've watched many of my videos over the last week or so, you'll see that this has been that was our initial price target for the measured move out of the wedge. That's fine. But we've known that these are where the sellers are going to be sitting. And we can see that sort of like, this move up here from Monday has just been consolidating throughout the week, unable to close over here. Finally got the close over, got the back test, and bang, it's just exploded up. So as I said, this was the first price target, which was the same expansion of the range there. So that's been taken out. And now we're sort of smacking into, and as expected, being sold down right pretty much to the cent from this zone where we know sellers have been previously. A full completion of the measure move, if you're looking at just this section here, is this top line here. So again, if we get this sort of sell-off in the USD, this will be the thing that will give the push to the top side here, and probably collect this top side of this falling resistance again. So been quite a sort of strong week, particularly after this relentless sort of sell down sort of last week with copper. It's certainly sort of proving to sort of be quite in favour and pushing to the top side. Cool, and finally just a quick one with DXY. It's certainly holding in there. It's very wicky, very choppy. This is on 4 hour, and you can see it's just up and down, oscillating in this zone here. So realistically, what we want to sort of see is a clear break from this zone here. As I said, like I'm personally sort of looking for downside moves. I think this zone here will be sort of taken out. 104 is my sort of short-term price target. Actually, if you probably sort of pull it out, you could probably sort of say that you'd probably get more, probably around these sort of daily supplies. So what's this, 104.15, or possibly sort of a little bit lower down here. So that 104 to 104.15, I think, is a reasonable sort of price target if we do get that US dollar sell off. So we're just going to have to see what they firstly sort of do with the rate decision, how much of the market is going to be sort of just buying the rumor, sell the news kind of thing, and also then what happens with the press conference afterwards, because I think that's going to really sort of play into sort of what the moves are over the, coming into the end of the week, and more broadly, sort of what is going to be happening with US dollar. As we sort of said, this isn't a great channel to be sort of working off. It has been respected a few times, obviously. If you were to go off that, we are sort of popping out to the top side here. So this line down the bottom here of this isn't obviously part of a channel, but if this were to be a channel, this would be then, a reasonable area where you could sort of say that, okay, you're going to see some buyers sort of coming in based on the angle of this sell down on the top here. But as it is at the moment, you're getting a bit more of this sort of triangle, and even as we speak, coming out into this press conference, which is in 15 minutes now, we're seeing the US dollar sort of firm up a little bit and push to the top side. So yeah,